There's something about certain episodes that don't just pass by like any other day. They stay, they linger, and sometimes they spark conversations that go far beyond the screen. That's exactly what happened with the latest episode of General Hospital. What seemed like a normal continuation of ongoing storylines suddenly turned into something more, something viewers felt, something they noticed, and most importantly, something they couldn't stop talking about. Because this time, it wasn't just about what happened, it was about how it happened. The tone, the pacing, the subtle shifts, and the emotional weights behind it all. So today, we're taking a closer look at the moment that has fans reacting in a big way. For longtime viewers, General Hospital is more than just a show. It's a routine, a daily connection, a world that feels familiar, even comforting. The characters, the relationships, the ongoing drama, they create a rhythm that fans recognize instantly. But in this particular episode, that rhythm felt just a little different, not in a dramatic, over-the-top way, not with shocking twists or unexpected reveals. Instead, it was quieter, softer, more grounded. Scenes seemed to breathe a little longer. Moments weren't rushed. Conversations carried more weight. And that subtle change, it didn't go unnoticed. Fans began sharing their thoughts almost immediately. Some described the episode as more emotional, others said it felt realer than usual, and many simply said something was different today. Every episode has its key moments, but this time, there was one particular scene that stood out. Not because of dramatic action, not because of shocking dialogue, but because of its simplicity. Two characters, a conversation, a pause, a look. And in that moment, everything slowed down. The kind of scene where nothing huge happens on paper, but everything happens emotionally. Fans quickly picked up on it. They started discussing it online, sharing clips, rewatching it, trying to explain why it felt so powerful. And the answers varied. Some said it was the acting, others pointed to the writing, and many believed it was the combination of everything coming together perfectly. Because sometimes it's not about big drama, it's about quiet truth. So, why did this episode create such a strong reaction? The answer isn't just one thing. It's a mix of elements that aligned at the right moment. 1. Emotional authenticity. Viewers felt like the emotions were genuine, not forced, not exaggerated, just real. And in a genre known for dramatic storytelling, that kind of authenticity stands out. Instead of rushing from one plot point to another, the episode allowed moments to settle, to breathe, to exist, and that gave viewers time to actually feel what was happening. Subtle performances. The acting wasn't loud. It wasn't overly dramatic. It was controlled, nuanced, and incredibly effective. Sometimes a small expression says more than a long speech, and fans noticed that. Many fans felt like they could relate to what they were seeing, not because it mirrored their exact experiences, but because it captured emotions they understood. And that connection, that's what keeps people watching. It didn't take long for the reaction to spread. Social media platforms lit up with discussions. Fans shared clips, thoughts, and reactions. Some posts were simple. Did anyone else feel that? Others went deeper. That scene hit harder than I expected. And then there were those who tried to analyze the moment in detail, breaking down expressions, dialogue, and pacing. What's interesting is that not everyone reacted the same way. Some loved the change. Others were surprised by it. A few even said they preferred the usual, faster-paced storytelling. But regardless of opinion, everyone was talking. And in today's content world, that's powerful. This brings up an important question. Was this episode a sign of a bigger shift? Or was it simply a standout moment? It's hard to say for sure. Sometimes shows experiment. They try different tones, different pacing, different approaches. And sometimes those experiments resonate. Other times, they don't. But in this case, it clearly connected with viewers. And that raises another question. Should the show continue in this direction or return to its usual style? Fans are divided, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it means people are engaged, thinking, feeling, responding. In a world filled with fast content, quick clips, short attention spans, constant movement, there's something refreshing about slowing down, about letting a moment exist without rushing it. That's what this episode did, and that's why it stood out. It reminded viewers that storytelling doesn't always need to be loud. It doesn't always need big twists. Sometimes all it needs is honesty. And when that honesty comes through, people notice. In the end, there was no major twist, no shocking reveal, no headline-making moment, just a scene, a feeling, a quiet shift in energy. And somehow, that was enough, because it reminded viewers of something important, that even the most familiar stories can still surprise us, not with loud drama, but with quiet truth. It showed that even after all this time, a single moment can still spark conversation, still create connection, still leave an impact. And maybe that's what made this episode so special. Not what happened, but how it made people feel. And as the conversations continue, one thing is clear. This wasn't just another episode. It was a moment. And moments like that don't fade easily.